Hi, this is Crystal. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited about this nice ancestral cooking and tribute to all of our ancestors and stuff. So it's gonna be really nice. So hey, thank you everybody for joining, and everybody will be able to chat with me. You know, you can send me chats if you want to talk about Granny or any of our other ancestors. You can do that, and then I got pictures to show, but I will have more pictures later on to show of the family because I'm gonna keep this up. So just thanks everybody for being there. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, good morning. Hi, hey, this is Crystal Calhoun, aka Crystal Carter from El Campo, Texas. I got to give Texas their props out there. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to be showing off my healthy cooking, and then I'm doing a tribute to my ancestors. So everything I'm cooking here today is basically recipes that's been passed down. I just made them a little bit more healthier or kept them the same. So like I said, I'm Crystal Calhoun. I'm the mother of 3 adult sons, Damone, Sod, and Collie, and 15 beautiful grandchildren, and I'm truly blessed. And I'm the leader of the San Jose Equity, elderly leader of the San Jose Unified Equity Coalition. So I'm working in the schools for, you know, more equality for everyone and talking racial justice, but healthy racial justice. So what I am is I'm a simply healthy cook, and most meals that I prepare, they can be prepared within an hour or less. So I keep it simple but healthy and tasty. So then what I got cooking right here, so for the sake of time, this is collard greens, so I had to cook them because they take longer than an hour. So how you cook, most people don't know how to cook collard greens, and it's really simple. You get them, you wash them, don't peel them or nothing. You just wash them, chop them up, put them in with a little salt, and add some bouillon cubes to it. And then all you do is just simmer and just wait for it to get done. And on the average, it takes collard greens about 90 minutes or so before they're really tender. So that's what I got right here. This is the collard greens. And so what our meal is today, I'm going to talk about everything, but I talk fast, so I have to slow down. So it's like we're going to have smothered chicken with onions and gravy. And for the sake of time, I already started some of the chicken. So we got smothered chicken with onions and gravy. And then on the side, then we're going to have garlic mashed potatoes, and that's just regular mashed potatoes, and put a little garlic in there, and then we're good. And I'm going to be making a roasted broccoli and cauliflower straight from my garden. And oh yeah, by the way, yeah, the collard greens came from my garden too. So I got a big garden in the back, and we'll show that in a little bit. Yeah, so then we'll be having our total dinner is smothered chicken with onions and gravy, garlic mashed potatoes with collard greens, and roasted cauliflower and broccoli. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I started prepping my chicken. So for the sake of time, I already got some chicken in there. But then right now, I'm going to explain exactly how to cook the chicken. Make it simple for everybody. Because that's my whole thing, is that if I can keep it healthy and simple at the same time, I'm more apt to get more people to it. And with our people of color, especially black people, that's the only ones I can really speak for, it's my own people, is that we need to eat more healthier. And if I can make it simple and tasty and healthy, then I'm more likely to get people to eat. So that when I'm not teaching all of this good stuff, then I'm teaching gardening. I'm teaching exercise classes. I'm teaching walking, all of that. Anything that's gonna help our health. And the main thing I could say for any of us is that our water intake is just like this unbelievable that most of us don't drink enough water. So God made water and didn't make it flavored or nothing like that. So just drink water. So here I'm all washed up and ready to go. So what I did is I took my chicken. I got leg quarters here. So I took about a teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of Lowry's, and some black pepper. Put it on each side, and that's it. And all you do is put it in the oven from there. And already, for the sake of time, I already got some in there cooking. So I'm just doing this. And so all the recipes, like I said, I'm cooking. These are the same ones that I was raised up on. You know, I ate a very healthy diet. We're very poor, but we ate a lot of fresh vegetables. So Yeah, I didn't make too many changes to my diet from what I was raised in. Thank goodness from all of them ladies and gents that taught me how to cook healthy as a kid. So then right now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna wash up again. Every time you touch meat, you need to wash up real good, especially chicken. You know, washing up good. Then I'm gonna drain my potatoes. So they're already cooked. So to do potatoes, it's just like the old-fashioned way. You take the potatoes, you peel them. Either you do a potato peeler or I'm old-fashioned, so I just take that knife and peel it up. And after you drain the water off of your potatoes, what you want to do is put it back on the stove on low, and then you just want to make sure that water is going to start bubbling up, any excess water, and then you can get that off. And then after you do that, so the next thing you want to do is you want to get your margarine. People use butter. I'm one of those people, I'm one of those black people that's totally allergic to all dairy products. It's not a lactose intolerant. I'm totally allergic. So I use margarine. So you can use whatever you want. You let that water start boiling in there and get it out of there. While you're doing that, you want to get out your, get the garlic and get that ready. So what I do is take the garlic. I'm going to take garlic. And I even show you how to peel up garlic, make it real simple for you. So we take the garlic. We're going to take the garlic. We're going to get out a little frying pan while we're waiting on that to simmer up. Get out that knife. And so with garlic, real easy how you get it peeled. You take the handle on the knife and be careful, and you just hit it. And once you hit it like that, then it's gonna peel easy. If you don't hit it, then it's gonna be real hard, and you're gonna be figuring out how the heck are you gonna get this thing to do. So you take that, you get that ready, get you a small frying pan, small skillet, whatever you wanna call it. You're gonna put a little oil there. I'll leave this out for my other stuff. Then I just take a little oil and put it in the pan, and it only takes you a few minutes to go ahead and get that garlic nice and simmered up. And that's just the way I'm going to be doing my I'll be doing my onions in the same way in a few minutes. So you take that, you got enough in there to caramelize them, so that's what they call it, caramelizing. I call it just sauteing them. And after you do that, and the main thing was when you're cooking is you watch those fingers. Don't stick your fingers out like that, because then you could be hurt. So just ball your fingers up. Then you go ahead and get this peeled up. Get all that stuff off. The garlic comes with a lot of them little leaves on there, but it's worth the taste. It takes some time to get it off, but once it's off, then you're okay. And you take your garlic. You're going to chop that up. You're going to have that pan hot while you're doing all of this. So when I'm showing you how to cook and make it simple, I try to do everything in an hour or less if it's possible. Most things are. It's like you're doing multiple things at once. So you keep yourself busy. And when you're done, after this hour or so, then you should have a complete healthy meal. And it's just so good. And when people say that they don't have time, you know, they're too busy, they got work and all of this, and I done said it 1,000 times before, is I had a job for 40 years, raising 3 children, helping to take care of the grandkids, is I always had enough time to take care of me. You're never too busy that you can't take care of yourself. And then in the time that you're going to take and drive those poor kids over there to that fast food place, which we're not going to call their name, and give them that junk that's going to add to their poor little misery and make them have a bad day because they're hungry for real food. So then that's it, and I'll clean off all of that broccoli. I clean off all of this garlic out of here. So I'm browning that, and in the meantime, then you see that sizzling. That means that all of the water, you don't see any more water on here. on your mashed potatoes. So it's real simple. I'm all old school with everything. Just get out that old potato masher. Just like what Grandma and all of them were doing. Grandma and Mama and everybody. Take that. Get this over here so we can see it. And you just start to hold on to your pot. Whenever you're doing anything in the kitchen, you always want to hold on to the handles, because that's very dangerous if anything slips. So just hold on to the handles at every time, and always keep children away from when you're cooking, small kids and all of that good stuff. And always keep your handles turned in. Don't leave them hanging out, because one of them could grab that and pull it off or something. In the meantime, my garlic is still simmering there. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that, so because I'm one of them people, I have to be busy. So I'm gonna take some onions, because I'm gonna be needing this to cook cook the chicken. So while I'm doing that, just take an onion. That's it. I like all onions, but I mainly like the white and they call them red. They look purple to me, but either I use the white or the red onions. But no matter which one you use, it's a good thing. So you have your choice of what you want to use. So then I'm going to slice this up. And slice it up carefully. Get all of that off. And like putting onions, green onions, fresh herbs, I put that in my food. And that's in replace of, that gives your food taste without adding salt. Because that's the main thing we don't want to do in our culture, is stay away from as much salt as I can. I use a lot of powders, garlic powders, onion powders, so you can't go over on that. You can go over easily on too much salt. And I really don't use too much white salt, not unless I totally have to. Try to stay away from that, and I use the seasoned salt, the Lowry's, but I go easy on that too. So after you learn how to make food taste good without salt, you wouldn't believe it that when you go over too much salt, if I put a drop of too much salt on my food or something like that, it doesn't taste good. Whereas in our culture, the more salt the better. It's like, no, that's what we were taught. And it's like, no, that's not good. That's not good for our health. It's not good for our blood pressure. So now I got all of this all mashed up, and that's all ready right there. So I'm doing multiple things. I'm the queen of the multitasking. So then I'm gonna take and I got my potatoes all mashed up. Not gonna put any milk or anything in there. Like I said, I'm putting margarine in here. It's a joke in my family that I like this same old-fashioned margarine, but it works for me. So then you see this. Now it's all done. And what I like to do is just take just a little bit of black pepper. A little bit of black pepper, but no salt. A little bit of black pepper. And then by now, my garlic is ready. But you don't want to dump the grease in there. I'm going to be using the grease for the onions. So what you do is just take this garlic, scoop it out, put it in there, and in 1 minute, this is how you make garlic mashed potatoes. And it's really simple. So you don't have to go to nobody else, or you don't have to go to that food prep. So when I say, like, go shopping, get the feel of it. Go shopping. Take the kids in the store. Show them a lot of fresh vegetables and how we can eat and everything. So don't go to the drive-thru, please. I be driving by in the mornings. I'm retired, but some mornings I'm out for whatever reason, mainly going volunteer like places. And the lines I see for the people lined up with the children in the car at these fast food places. And I'm like, in the time that you sit there for 20 minutes in the waiting on that, you could have cooked a whole breakfast for the kids, and it would have started the day off real good. So while that's getting ready, right now, I'm going to go and put this in, and then I'll explain again about the potatoes. You get your onions in here. And that's going to be real good for your chicken. In a few minutes, we're going to check on the chicken. That's in the oven. And you cook that. I don't know, I must have hit the wrong button. You hear me? I turned the stove off. I turned the oven off. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get back to that. On your chicken, you're gonna be cooking that at about 375. For right now, to sake of time, I'm gonna heat it up real good since I turned the thing off by accident. So now, I'm gonna be simmering these onions right here while I'm talking to you. So the garlic mashed potatoes, those are totally done. You don't need to do nothing else to that. And right now, I'll go ahead and check on my collard greens. And you know when they're done, is that it's just tender. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is what collard greens look like when they're done. And then they got a nice juice to it and everything. And so when the chicken is ready, then I start putting, I don't know what to do with that pot holder, but here's one. So the chicken starts to look like that, and it's gonna get a little bit warmer. And as soon as it get a little bit hotter, then I'm gonna take and melt some butter, like I said, and then I'll coat it. And after that, what I'll do is just keep going back and basting the chicken with it till it's done. So if you cook your chicken in the oven, just like that, we call it roasting, you're really not baking, you want to put it on that high temperature. So right now I got it at 395, just so it can heat up. But on the average, you want to cook it around 375. You're going to cook that for at least about 45 minutes, and you know, you keep basting it. And after that, and after around the 45 minutes, by then you should have your gravy ready, your onions and gravy ready. And I'm going to show you how to make gravy the simplest way ever. And you have your onions and gravy ready, so that we're going to pour that over the chicken while it's in the oven and cover it in foil and let it sit there and cook for another 15-20 minutes until it's totally done. And I'll teach you how to know when chicken is done, how to check it, because you don't never want steak. You can eat it rare and all that good stuff and other stuff. Chicken has to be well done at all times. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It has to be done. And I'll show you how to make sure your chicken is done, and that's real easy. So I got my chopping board here. I'm getting that all cleaned up. And then I'm gonna walk out to the garden in a few minutes, and I'm gonna go out there and pick fresh broccoli, cauliflower. I'm gonna bring it in here. I'm gonna wash it up, chop it up, and then I'm gonna roast that in the oven on about 375. On the average, it takes about 20 minutes to roast broccoli, cauliflower, all of those kind of vegetables like that. So the onions is caramelizing up there real nice. So I'm gonna melt up this butter. Then we're gonna go back to the chicken. So like I said, today I'm doing a tribute to my ancestors and family members, because mostly all of my family members, they've all made their way to heaven. But I'm still blessed. I have my mother, Darlene, up in Seattle, my cousin, Zelma, down in El Campo, Texas, my uncle, Harold, he's down in Houston. And, you know, those are some of my elders that are still around supporting me. But most of everybody else, they've already made their transition, so they're watching us from heaven up there. So I'm a happy camper with that. So after I do all of this, I'm going to be out there showing my garden, showing what my garden looks like right now. I got my nice winter garden out there. I'll be showing what my garden looks like, and we'll take time and go and sit out in my succulent garden, because I'm always talking about my vegetable garden and my fruit and everything that's growing back there. But I just like to talk about that fun stuff that I grow succulents. I got more than 200 succulents growing everywhere. And I'm one of those people, and people are like, oh, okay, well, what's the name of that one? I don't know. What's the name of that one? I don't know. I just love succulents, and they bring so much fresh air, and it's a whole nother vibe what they do for. That's why everybody's on it now. But I've been on succulents for way more than I got plants outside that's been out there for way more than 25 years. Some of them that I've been keeping the same plant. So I'm a happy camper. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you. I just went outside and picked fresh broccoli and cauliflower from my garden. And this is all new. This is the first time I've been growing a lot of stuff, but first time I'm growing this. But I'm blown away that they have these beautiful leaves, and I'm trying to figure out, so what are you supposed to do with the leaves other than throw them away? So this is what it looks like when it comes from the garden. It's totally fresh. That's fresh cauliflower. This is fresh broccoli. So we're gonna do it like I normally do. We're gonna get it all washed up here. So after you get that off, and it's all nice and clean, so then I just take it, just simple, just like that. I just chop it up, and then I'm gonna get I got my strainer right here. So you chop it up. I'm telling you, everything is real simple. So with the broccoli and the cauliflower, they cook the same way. You can cook them in the same pan, it doesn't matter. And you get them all washed up. You're gonna put them in the pan and pat it dry. Okay, so now I got the broccoli. So I mean the broccoli, I'm sorry. I got the cauliflower. So we're gonna do it the same way. We're gonna get all of this stuff off of here, all these leaves. So one of these days I'm gonna find out what to do with these leaves and cook them. I'll let you guys know. But for right now, this is what I'm doing with it. So this is straight from the garden with lots of dirt. It's funny to me. So if you like gardening, you gotta be ready for dirt. So when I spend a whole day in the garden and I'm dirty from my head to toe, now that's a good day for me. So I teach healthy gardening, I teach simple healthy gardening, work with community gardens. Hey, look, I'm always looking for an opportunity to help people out and make a couple of bucks in the meantime. So anybody got community gardens and all that kind of stuff and you need some help, you need some advice, I can take you shopping, show you what you need to buy. We can go, I won't give those stores no name, not unless they start paying me for advertising them. But we can go to all of those stores. I can tell you the right soil to buy. And, everybody's talking about, oh, whether it's organic, is it this? Like, I don't put all those names on it. I just say it's just like what I was raised with. We're just growing it with no pesticides. Now, all of them names they add to it, they just add a name so they can be charging you more money. Oh, as soon as I go in the store and see something that's organic, I run because I'm like, okay, it's a ripoff. They're just going to charge you more money. Because collard greens, that's a big, big part of our African-American black people diet. All of us love collard greens. I love collards and mustards and all of that, but I can teach you how to grow a collard green. I can teach you how to grow mustard greens. And when they say, when they're talking about faith of God and you got the faith of a mustard seed and all of that, and I'll ask people that are like Bible quoters and all that, I'm like, you know what the faith of a mustard seed is? And they all have that look on their face, and then I'll go and pull out seeds and show them what mustard seeds look like and collard green seed. It's a tiny, tiny seed like this. And I mean, it's like a pinhead. And that you got to have faith. You're going to put that little thing in the garden, in your dirt. You're going to take care of it and watch over it. It's going to come up with these big, beautiful leaves. So that's what it means, the faith of a mustard seed. For anybody that didn't know what that really meant. So my chicken is doing really well down here. And I'm still getting that ready. So this is what my chicken is looking like. And just before the break, then I went and put that good old margarine on there. So that's helping it to brown. So after it does that, you got the juice in there. You just want to after it starts turning brown, like every 15 minutes. So from start to finish on a high temperature, the maximum should be 1 hour and 10 minutes at the max. And some stoves you could have even faster. So I got that sauteing, and then pretty soon I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna check, and I'm gonna see if see how well it's being cooked, and then I'll know. So what I'm doing here is I went outside and I got the broccoli and the cauliflower from my garden, and it was all dirty. How it really works. I love that dirt stuff. That's when you really know you got it. If you taste a little dirt on there, dirt won't hurt you. It ain't no chemicals in there. God made dirt, it don't hurt. So then what I do is I take the broccoli and the cauliflower, and just like I do with this store-bought cauliflower and broccoli, I'll do the same thing. You take and drizzle olive oil on it. I love all those other oils, but when you're roasting stuff, it's like heaven when you use olive oil. It's like it was meant. It just like it just like totally helps out the vegetables and the high heat and everything. So then when you're cooking, when you're roasting, I'm not baking these, they call it roasting. So you roast it on a high temperature. So you're gonna roast this about 20 minutes or so. And so then you put your oil on there, put a little black pepper, no salt. No salt. We don't need all of that. Get away from here. So then we got, here we go, we got this. So you got it all nice and oiled up. Make sure it's all oily. And then you got your oven. I already got my oven at 370. I'm going to take it up to 375. So I got that. So 20 minutes from now, that should be totally ready. Get rid of the rest of the dirt. And then while I'm getting ready for that, like I said, I'm a multitasker. I don't just wait for one thing at a time. So since I got that, and I've been cooking the chicken more than 45 minutes already. So what we're gonna do, let me get washed up again. What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna show you guys how to make the easiest gravy in the world. Because I know how to make the old-fashioned gravy where you're frying up the oil and you're doing browning the flour and all of that. But ever since I was a kid, something about that. I like fried food, but something about just browning that flour in there, it doesn't work well with my stomach. So I finally got something that's the easiest thing in the world to make good, make you some really good, what did I do? I threw it away, I'm sorry. How to make you some really good gravy. I just buy this, and it's McCormick. I don't have no, and it's a brown gravy, and I get it with the less sodium. And what this calls for is 1 pack per cup of water. So what I do is go ahead and put 2 of them in there. And they say put it in cold, but I like to put mine in warm. And then I'm a measured cook, so I don't guess and say, oh, that should look okay. Like, no, so that's a little bit more than the 2 cups, but that's okay because it'll cook out. I stir it up. I stir up all of that stuff, and I'm gonna put it in the microwave for about a minute or so. Get it all stirred up. And while I'm putting it in the microwave, then I'm gonna put in a bouillon cube in there, and that gives it a nice flavor. And you can get the bouillon with the reduced sodium. And you're not gonna believe how easy this is. It says easy. So I got it all stirred up there. I just need to get that bouillon cube, put it in there. I know I had it somewhere. Should be handy, there it is. I just take one of these, I use the Knorr. And then when I can find the less sodium, so they make the beef, they make chicken, and some of them it's hard to find vegetable, but they charge so much when you go in vegetable broth. I don't know why, but so I got that all in here. I'm gonna take it and put it in the microwave for about a minute or so, and then I'll check it. You don't want it to explode, and yeah, so when we say we're gonna put 2 minutes on it, and then we'll check it in a few minutes and stir it up and make sure that's all right. So then I got the onions already caramelized and everything. So pretty soon we're gonna have that. And then this finally cooled off. So as an extra thing, I'm not teaching how to make this, as an extra thing, then I made a nice grandma's recipe of a peach cobbler. And this is different from everybody else's peach cobbler. And I don't give out this is a family secret. The stuff I share from my own recipes, that's okay, but the family secrets, like no. You don't tell nobody about that family secret with them ladies taught me how to make. So I make peach cobblers, sweet potato pies, pecan pies. I even sell those. So if anybody want that, let me know. You can cash at me, I'll tell you. So holidays, special occasions, then I do all of those kind of desserts too. I'm a happy camper. So we got the broccoli and the cauliflower in there. Like I said, you know, we'll clock that at another 20 minutes. The gravy that's been cooking almost in here for almost 2 minutes. Then you just stop it, stir it up, make sure everything's all nice and stirred in there. And basically when that chicken and that broccoli gets ready, it's ready. And all of this, except for the collard greens, all of this took 1 hour to cook. And then the other good thing about cooking like this, you know, and having all this good home cooking, if it tastes good the first time, it's really gonna taste good the next time with the leftovers. But when people say that they don't eat leftovers, they don't like them, like, okay, so what I say is, it must didn't taste good the first time over, so for sure you didn't like it the leftovers. But food, when you cook it like I cook it, it tasted good the first time, but on a day or so, it's really gonna taste good. So when everything sits and soaks in and all that good stuff. So right now I'm gonna check that chicken. So I have to let the steam hit me. And then I'm blessed. I love this cooking and all of that, so I have 2 ovens. So I can be cooking double at the same time. So I got all of that going on. So the chicken is looking like it's nice and brown. I'm gonna baste that one more time. And it's got a lot of juice in here, so what I would do is, so it's not too juicy and take away from the gravy stuff, because you want the gravy to be a little thick, is I'll take and pour some of this off before I put the gravy in there. So this is about ready for us to put the gravy on there. So I'm going to take it out and just drain some of this juice off. You don't want to drain it all off because there's some good stuff in there. So you just drain it off, and hopefully you don't drain and mess up your sink. Don't clog your sink. So like a few weeks ago, I have these dinners, and I call them healthy dinners with Mama Crystal, and you just give me a donation of $15 a plate, and I call it a donation because you can't get this much good food for $15. So I had this big old dinner, and everything was done, and okay, I'm getting ready to clean up and getting ready for everybody to start lining up. So, you know, we do the curbside, I bring your plate out and all that good stuff. And then I'm cleaning up the kitchen, and I hear this water gushing, and I'm like, what is that? And then I look over here, the pipe done busted, and water is just going all over the kitchen. I'm just like overwhelmed. I had to get all of that. You had to get out buckets and towels and all of that, and I'm dying laughing because I know I'm in trouble, but at least I had finished cooking. So I got all of that mopped up, and I couldn't use my sink for a couple of days, so I was like the old days. Had to wash it in here and then take everything outside and get it all rinsed up and do all of that kind of stuff. Because if you can't use your sink for draining, you can't use your dishwasher either. So I felt like I was back in the way old days. So now we got this. So we got the gravy. We just put the onions on there. Now then we're gonna put this in here. Put it back in the oven. Let's save a little bit for that other pan. We're gonna get some foil. We're gonna cover it up real good. We're gonna keep on cooking it on high. In like 15 minutes or less, it'll be ready. And the difference in this chicken, smothered chicken that I made with the onions and gravy, and the ones that I was taught, they would they would partially fry the chicken and then do all of this. So what I do is I just roast it. So I'm not adding any extra grease or anything like that, just a little butter, a little margarine. And these are the last 2 pieces that of chicken that I started. So I just need to check on this. And make sure. So anybody that wants a healthy meal, You can cash out me, $15 donation, and you will be happy. And most of the meals that I cook on the average person can eat it. It's like a meal and a half. I don't give you too much. And another thing that we have to look at is like portion size and how fast you eat. So in the old days when the old people told you, well, you're supposed to chew it 28 times and all of that, you're like, yeah, whatever. But what I found out, what that means is that if you chew your food slowly and all of that, then your brain is talking to your tummy and all of that. So then it lets you know when you're full. But if you just gobble it down, you done ate twice as much food as you should have, and then you're wondering why everything is just getting bigger and bigger. So hey, eat slowly, don't stuff your mouth, let your brain catch up with your tummy, and we can go from there. So I got all of this, and I'm just waiting on that other chicken to get a little bit more browner, and then we'll do that. So right now the collard greens is done, the mashed potatoes are done, the broccoli and cauliflower will be done in the next 15 minutes or so. Chicken gonna be done in about 15 minutes. Then we're gonna have dinner. So I wanna go ahead and take a break for a few minutes right now. And pretty soon I'm gonna start talking about my family and everything. And while I'm taking a break, before I take a break, I'm gonna bring out the pictures and the documents showing my family, and I got all of the pictures showing, my grandmother pictures back to the late 30s and the early 40s. I got my family's documents going back to the 1800s. I got wedding licenses and stuff, and showing when my grandpa and my grandmas, when they got married in the 1800s and 1916. So I got all of those documents, and we've been passing that down. My grandmother Gertrude, that's the main one I'll be featuring. Her name is Gertrude Carter Shaver's Craft. I'm going to be featuring her, but she was the one that really kept us up on the family stuff. So it started with her family of us keeping pictures and the good memories, and then she just went to the next level. So any documents that we have and the pictures, none of that came from that company out there that goes to look for people's family. This is all passed down, so this is even more special. So I'm carrying the torch for the next generations and stuff. So we can stop now.
Ready.
Okay, well, thank you, family. This is the most exciting part of this whole Black History Month. I'm doing tribute with the cooking and everything, and I just want to take time right now to thank the Black Kitchen Cabinet for honoring me with this grant to be able to do this cooking and show off my ancestors. So again, thanks to Jamal, thanks to Rhonda, and thanks to everybody at the Black Kitchen Cabinet for honoring me with this grant to be able to afford this and do this. So thank you. And this is Black History Month. So happy Black History Month to everybody. So I want to start off with some of the iconic pictures of my family. I got our family pictures that go back to, the late 1930s and early 40s. I got my grandmother's pictures. So I almost got 80 years of pictures, family pictures, and all documented. And my family is that we're very poor, and there's the whole Jim Crow thing. We really didn't even talk about that mess at home, really. We talked about our life and, how much we love family and how much we're gathering, and we did it all in pictures and stories and all of that. So I'm the last of them, and I'm going to keep the stories going. So I'm the family historian and the picture historian. So then this picture you see right here, this is a famous picture with my family. This picture was taken in July of 1960. So it's a 5-generation picture. So this is me. I was 3.5 years old. And I was too cute. We know that part. Still too cute. This is my mother, Darlene. This is her mother, Gertrude. This is her mother, Josephine. And this is her mother, Mary. And this lady right here, Grandma Mary, she was born like, I think if I'm not mistaken, her grandparents, I know her parents were slaves. She was born in 1871. So when they finally freed the slaves down in Texas, most people don't know. They just, they changed Juneteenth. Say, oh, that's when the slaves got freed. Like, no. That's when the Texas slaves supposedly got free. Everybody else got the thing in 1863, and most people didn't even know that we're down there in Texas having all that fun celebrating Juneteenth. So it's 1865. Somebody show up there at Galveston, Texas, and ask us why we still out there working. We didn't know. Yeah, so that was June 19th, 1865. So that's why we celebrate Juneteenth in America. But this is the famous picture. She was born in 1871. She died in 1973. Over here on the other side, that's my Aunt Jesselie. That's my cousin Zelma, and that's my cousin Sharon Ann. And so this was the 5-generation picture, and that was in July 1960. And the cool thing about my grandmother and the other family members and myself is that we dated all the stuff so that we know, we remember, we know. Okay, so this cute picture of me, this is me, 1972. I was 15 years old. So that's me. So hey, I'm still keeping it funky with the afro. And then if you would come in a little closer, I just want to tell everybody about these documents. You probably couldn't see it anyway. But this is when my grandparents got married, Bill Carter and Julia Carter. They got married in July of 1883. My grandpa Bill was a slave. And my grandmother went and got all of these documents, went to the different courthouses there in Texas and got all of this. So no company name, they didn't get these for. This is my actual grandpa. My maiden name is Carter. We're Carters out of El Campo, Texas, Wharton County, Texas, Colorado County, Texas. So that's my grandpa when him and my grandma Julie got married. And my grandpa Bill, he was one of the famous ones. He's still he started one of the oldest churches in El Campo. It's called Wesley Chapel, a Methodist church there, and his name is on the paperwork and all of that. So he started that church, and the church is still going. And we're taking a toll of how many children did, how many descendants did Mr. Bill have. And so far, we've narrowed it down to that we've came up with a minimum of 300 offsprings that this guy had. So that we're really proud of this. The other document I have is this is Bill Carter, and this is the wedding license of his son, my grandpa Lee Carter. And this is when he got married to my grandma Josephine Williams, and he got married to her on June 16th, and I think it's 1915. I think it's June 16th, 1916. And this is when they got married. And from that union, it's been at least a minimum of 100 children, because just between my mother and her first cousin, Zelma, the ones that's on here, just between these two ladies, my grandmother and her sister, Jesselie, so far we've counted off, just between the two of them, they have way more than 100 offsprings already. So it took me a long time, and I've been working on these pictures over here, so we'll move over here. And this is the famous couch that everybody likes at my house. It's still here. And we're going to go over here, and we're going to look at these pictures over here. And these pictures, and we're featuring everybody, but we're really going to be talking about my grandma Gertrude in a minute, because she's the family matriarch. She did so much for our communities and everything. But this picture, this is the famous iconic picture. That's my mother, Darlene. That picture was taken in 1971. So that picture is 50 years old, as of last year. So this is one of the favorite family pictures. That's why I got it blown up. This is the picture of my grandma Mary and my brother Ken, and that was taken July, because he was just born then. That was taken July of 1960. So right now he's getting ready to turn 62 years old. This is my uncle, and when he married my aunt, that's my Uncle Paul. When he married her, it got to be like the late 40s, early 50s when they got married. So we keep all those documents. This is my grandmother, and the siblings are other siblings that were alive. So that's my grandma Gertrude. That's my Uncle Reed Carter. That's Bertha Johnson. That's Paul Carter, and that's Maddie Carter. And all of those are my grandmother's sisters and brothers. So we're going to feature and just talk about my grandmother right now. And I want to thank everybody in the family that helped to contribute. And, I ask everybody to tell me what you think. So if you come in closer, if you can, all these pictures over here, let me get out of the way. all these pictures over here are the black and white photos. This is my grandmother's pictures. This is Gertrude. And these pictures are going back to the late 30s and the early 40s. That's how long we've been keeping the pictures. And all of it is dated. And my grandmother was just like, she was just like fierce. It's unbelievable, this woman. And here she is. I took her to the Golden Gate Bridge. She loved to travel, loved to travel. And she said when she was a kid, they was building the Golden Gate Bridge, and she was that little poor girl way down there in South Texas, and she's like, I never see that. So I took her to the Golden Gate Bridge more than once, and I mean, she was impressed every time. But then we're going to talk about some of my grandmother, who she was. So she was born June 16th, 1926. To her parents, to Lee and Josephine Carter. So Gertrude, this is her. She's just like, it took me a long time to put all these pictures together because I'm the family historian, and I got hundreds and hundreds of her pictures when she moved on to heaven. So just going to talk about her some, and talk about what the other family members said about her and what she meant to all of us, because all of us on here, everybody can't have nothing but nice things to say about Gertrude and how she inspired people. So she was, like I said, born in 1926, and some of that racial, really poor, really times. By the time she was in the 5th grade, she had to drop out. She couldn't go to school no more. She had to go and work as a maid and a nanny for white people. So she's a kid, so she had to go and do that. So they had to do what they had to do, but they all loved to read. They said my grandpa Lee Carter was, before all of that mess, before everything blew up, that he was a teacher. So even though they had to drop out of school, they were all very well read, and it was already taught. Education was pushed, and they couldn't get a high school diploma, but they were doing everything they could for us to get a high school diploma and to go on to higher learning. So what people said about my grandmother, and this came from all different family members. So what my mother said about her, said she was a great mother, even though she was a teenager when my mother was born. They had the ups and the downs, but that she was a great, strong woman. She was a great leader. And my grandmother Gertrude raised us because my mother was a teenager. So me and my mother are only 14 years apart. I'm almost older than her for sure. And so my grandmother raised me and my sister Patrick, Lynn, my brother Kenneth Lee, and I'm Crystal Laverne. So she raised us, and then we have another younger sister named Lachelle, and she was born out here in California, so she was being raised by my mother. So what my grandmother did after she got through some of those terrible times and all of that is that, she stayed positive and she stayed beautiful. And when I see her pictures, I see beautiful black women. I don't see, that picture that they make all black women in the old days look to me like all of them look like Aunt Jemima, but the other one, everybody was looking like Doris Day and Marilyn Monroe. But the women in my family, they were always looking beautiful. They realized their beauty. They loved their beauty. They loved the skin they're in. And most of all of them didn't even wear makeup. So that was a great thing. So my grandmother, she was a big civil rights leader in our community back there in the late 50s and early 60s. Big follower of Dr. King and his dream and his message. And she would go around and help the neighbors, because so many people where I came from, they were very poor, so they had to drop out of school, and so many didn't even know how to read or write. So she was blessed. She knew very well read, and she knew how to read and write, and we would go to different people's houses and help them to learn how to vote and all of that, and explain all the rights and everything. So she was fierce for that. And then she was one of those people that, and where I learned it from, she always wanted to help others. She wanted to give back, so we were taught about feeding, other people that were less fortunate. Even though we were poor, there were people that were much poorer than us and that we needed to give back. So that's the message. And then she went on to great things. This church over here on the corner, that's Grove Hill Baptist Church. And when we got to that church back there in the early 60s, it looked something like out of a war movie. No indoor toiling, no indoor plumbing. We were all just scared that we were getting ready to fall through the floor. And she stuck in with that church, and so many, when the people went on, the rest of the elders went on to heaven, she kept that church going alive until until her demise in May of 2010. But that was her church. She was the leader of the Eastern Stars there in El Campo. She was like the worthy matron. She got to travel everywhere. And even though she would have been 95 last year, she had more opportunities than other black women like her age. You know, she was worldly. You know, she traveled. She got to see things. And, you know, going back to her talking about her Dr. King, that was a big thing in our house, Dr. King and Nelson Mandela. So over here, these pictures, I know you can't see them really good, but those pictures are her at Dr. King's church, at his museum and all of that, you know, which I did that too at Ebenezer Baptist Church down there in Atlanta. So she did all of that. She was chosen. She was a famous quilt maker. I had that somewhere around here. She was a famous quilt maker there in El Campo, and she would win competitions all the time. And because it's a little small town of Texas, El Campo is a small farming town known as the Cotton and the Rice Belt, 70 miles south of Houston. And what she was known for is that she would make those famous blankets. I mean, she would make her quilts, and she would win prizes for it. And with the small town environment, that whoever won, they would hang your picture, you'd hang your quilts up in the big bank and the main bank there in El Campo. So she got all of those kind of awards. She was chosen Woman of the Year, okay, for her community help and her working with the community. And I would talk to her, and I'm like, "What are you doing, Granny?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm going over here to help feed the old people." I'm like, "But aren't you old?" And she's like, "No." And so she would go and feed the people and all of that, and she thought it was funny. She was calling them old, but she wasn't old. So the documents, like I showed you those documents, that I got all of that, but some of the most memorable one that brought tears to my eyes with her was the when I go through, this is her Bible. This is actually the Bible she was using for years. So that's Granny's Bible right there. Inside here, I got her death certificate when she went on to heaven. This is her purse, going back to the 1950s. And these are all love letters that my grandpa, Orange Craft Jr., was sending her these love letters while he was stationed away in the service. And it's unbelievable that she kept all of these. And it's funny, I laugh, I look back at this, some of these are like 1956 and all of that, a stamp, U.S. postage stamp only cost 3 cents and back then. So it's like she did that, and what family said, like she encouraged all of us to be the best we could, the very, very best we could. She encouraged us to go out and help people without expecting anything. Okay, so she had a job, and we want to give real props to that. She was a maid, and I wasn't ashamed of that, what they did to support us. They did what they needed to do to support us, and they wasn't shamed, and they wasn't beat down or anything. And she worked for some of the best people in the world, Dr. Walter D. Presley and his wife. And she worked for them for more than 50 years as a housekeeper and a nanny. She helped to raise the children. The kids look up to her as their mother, and then you help raising their grandkids and all of that. But she had a career of 50 years in one place, and he was a doctor. And the best part is because we didn't have money for all of the doctors and all of that, is that doctor, he treated all of us, the whole family that was there, he treated everybody, and that was free. And he was one of those old doctors where you call him on the phone and said, "Granny, one of us is not feeling good." He said, "Okay, I'll be right there." And he showed up with his little black bag, and I mean, I just can't say enough. And like I said, you know, she encouraged all of us to be the best we very could be. And, you know, the best, the proudest thing that Gertrude was, you know, my grandma, Gertrude, everybody called her Gertrude, Annie, Granny, all of that. And she was very proud to be a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, and a community leader. And she was just proud of that. And on the flip side, okay, she was very fun-loving, energetic. She loved music. That's where I got my love of music from. We had the blues in the house. She was going to every concert. She was seeing B.B. King and Bobby Bland back there in the 50s for a couple of bucks. So she was big on music. So I got her music collections. I got hundreds of albums, CDs. I got the cassettes, the 45s. I got all of that. So everything was centered around music and her love of God and prayer and everything. And we just can't say enough about her. And when my son wrote an article about her, because we had 5 generations back there in 1960, In 2007, we had 5 generations again, and she was here. And my son wrote an article about all of us, and that's all of us, and that's in that was in 2007. That was 5 generations of us again, you know, and we were all here together. And then another time we had 5 generations again here, you know. So we're from a lot of people here. And what he would talk about is, you know, everybody loved Granny, and, you know, she was one of the best joke tellers. That's what my niece said. She liked, you know, her highlight of my grandmother was all of us being here at my home, and we're in the kitchen, and she loved to cook, one of the best cooks you ever want to see this side of the Mississippi. And she was a good cook, and we'd hang out and do all the family stuff. But when she wasn't loving, kind, and generous and all of that, she was one of the fiercest people, you were the fiercest women you ever want to meet. You didn't want to cross her, because that could not be good for you. You know, so that's what everybody talk about as, like, you know, she stood up for her family. She stood up for what was right. She stood up for the less fortunate. She really stood up for herself. You really didn't cross her. And then on the flip side of that, you could see this picture right here, where this one I loved, and that was real her. And I mean, just laughing, just laughing. She was one of the best joke tellers that anybody ever seen. She could be sitting there capping on you, saying, you know, all kinds of stuff about you, and you would be sitting there laughing. So it wasn't a demeaning joke. You know, she could just make everybody laugh. But, you know, a lot of the jokes was clean, but on that flip side, it was some dirty jokes out there. So I'm just going to tell one that everybody loves in the whole family, and I'm going to make it clean. So what she said is that once a lady was bothering my mother, who was Darlene, and who's this, and my mother was her only child. That was unheard of back there in that day. So my mother was the only child. So my mother was her only child. My mother had 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and now my mother got 23 great-grands. So some happened there, you know, we was on a part of that chitlin circuit, so it was the beer joint. The music was going all the time in Texas. Everybody had a guitar and drum, and, you know, we're all playing that and all of the big fun and everything. So somehow some lady, I don't even know what her name is, I won't even say it, you know, I don't want to hurt her family's feelings or anything, but she got into it with my mother, and she didn't hurt my mother. And then my grandmother found out, and my grandmother went and found her and told her, you better be glad you didn't hurt that child of mine, because if you did, okay, family, this is it, I'm cleaning it up, because if you did hurt that child of mine, you better make your home in an eagle's behind and hope it never poop. And that's my grandma. So hey, that's what we want to say about my grandmother. And so we would ask Granny, so where's your gun at, Granny? She's like, close as my right hand as we can get it. You know, so hey, she stood up for herself. She stood up. Another funny thing, I would be like, where you been, Granny? She's like, oh, I've been out there behind the church. I'm like, what were you doing behind the church? Because the church, Grove Hill Baptist Church, was sitting in a farm. These white people leased the thing to the families for 100 years, and they still letting us. And the church sits on a farm. And she's like, oh, I was back there behind the church. They're like, what were you doing? She's like, target practice. So who else, grandma, goes behind the church and be out there target practicing with their guns? She said, yeah, that was Texas. She had to protect herself, but that was the most fun, the most loving, the best memories. I'm standing on her shoulders and everybody else, but it's a beautiful thing having Gertrude Carter Chavis Craft as my grandmother, as a mother, as a great-great-grandmother, great-grandmother, and a loving mother and auntie to all. So I just want to say thank you to everybody and appreciate everybody listening. Thank you. And if anybody wants any of these copies of these pictures, just let me know which pictures you want, and go ahead and cash at me, and I'll be glad to send those pictures to you. So thanks a lot, all the Carter families, to everybody, descendants of Bill Carter, Lee Carter, all of them, Gertrude Carter, Bertha Carter, all of them, Maddie, Jesse Lee, Reed, Paul, Lawrence Carter, all of them, to all of everybody. Yes, thanks for the love, and we're truly blessed. But I want to show you this one right here. The last one, this is a cute one. This is right here. Danny Glover was here in town. That was 2003. That's my niece right there, Sarita. She's the biggest fan of ever, the Purple, whatever that movie is, that famous one that he had. So I meet him and I tell him, because my grandmother loved that movie. I don't know why I can't think of it. You know
Color Purple.
Yeah, The Color Purple. I knew it was something purple. And so then I meet him, and I'm in the crowd, and he's signing his book, and all these people. And I'm like, hey, Danny, hey, can you call my grandmother? And he's like, no, I'm not calling anybody today. I'm like, yeah, you're going to call my grandmother. So these pictures are, he's on the phone, and he's talking to my grandmother. He called her down there in Texas and got her on the phone. She's asking him all kind of questions. She's giving him directions how to get to her house. Just come on into Houston, and after you get off the flight in Houston, blah, 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 get on 59 and you can find me. So that was one of her really moments that, I got Danny Glover to call her on the phone. So thank you, family. Love to everybody.
Wait. Start over. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, family. So we're out in one of my special happy places. And don't let me frown at the sun, because I don't want to be messing up all of this. Yes, I'm not frowning. But I just want to come out and do my garden tour. So what I do with everybody is, every now and then I'll do a Facebook and I'll do my garden walkthrough, and people like to see that. But I'm in my garden, my happy place. So I've been in the garden, working the gardens. I was taught to garden even as a little child, and like that was the highlight of my day, is running around making mess in the garden and getting dirty. So right now, hey, and I still like getting dirty in the garden. So right now what I'm just showing is like this part of this healthy lifestyle that I got, and how easy it is to grow your own garden. And we can eat healthy. We don't have to go to the stores. And when you grow your own food, then that even makes you even healthier, because you're more likely to eat that. And then what you can teach your children and the grandkids the love of this kind of stuff. So right now I'm sitting next to my some strawberries. So pretty soon they'll be nice and red, and we just come out here and let the grandkids eat unlimited fruit and whatever they find out here. And then over here, we're gonna look here. So right here, then I got fresh spinach. I got nice butter leaf lettuce right here. It's heavenly. You can go to the store and buy that lettuce, but when you come out here and pick the lettuce, wash it up, leave a little dirt on it because it tastes better. And you got butter leaf lettuce right there. You make your own salad, fresh spinach. I got mustard greens here that are growing wild. Right here I got fresh broccoli, which I'm cooking that today. And then I'll stand up and turn around and show off some of the other stuff out here. So back here, other than all of that, so I'm out here, so I'm growing, I got collard greens growing. Like I said, I got mustard greens growing, green onions, more parsley, more lettuce, more broccoli. And it's unbelievable how good this stuff tastes. And then to be outside working in nature like this, you get a lot of exercise. But you be outside, you get away, you get out of the house, you get the fresh air, you get the sun. We all need this, and it's just, I don't know anything that could get any better for me. So I grow my own fresh herbs here. Like I said, I got parsley growing here. I got basil. I got fresh rosemary growing over there. And those are the things that you can use in your food to make it taste good without the salt and the other stuff. So that's really healthy. So like I said, all of this is a very, very healthy garden. And I like this. And I taught my children how to grow a garden. And I'm teaching my grandkids how to grow their own food, and teaching them how to, cook healthy and everything. And that's because I'm standing on, when I was a child, I was standing on shoulders of 4 or 5 generations above me. So most of all of those people are gone on to heaven. And with that job, what they were teaching me, which I didn't even realize as a kid, is like, we're going to teach you, and then it's your job to teach the next generation. So I'm teaching my children, teaching my grandkids, I'm teaching other youngsters in the neighborhood and the community and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm telling everybody, come on, stand on my shoulder. I want to show you a healthy life, a positive life. It's like all of us don't have to have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of that good stuff. We can have a healthy life. And I take my grandchildren for walks, even up to the big ones now, because I got them down to baby, up to the oldest one is 19. It's like when we get together, my grandson was here. He's in college down in Southern California. And I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. He's like, where are we going, Grandma? We're going for a walk. I'm like, yeah, exactly. We're going for a walk. And they all look forward to that with grandmas. That when they come to see me, down to my 1-year-old grandson, when he sees me, he hardly can tell me, but he's doing like this. This means like, come on, take me for a walk. So I just want to encourage people, you know, to take the children for a walk. Talk to them. You know, it's really cute to just go talk and see what a little kid is thinking. Take your mind off the rest of the world. Put the phone away, computer, and just go sit down and talk to the children and encourage them for the next generation. So I just want to talk about that, and, you know, I'm going to show off my succulents and all of that good stuff. In the meantime, I'm still cooking in there. So I'm going to stop now, but if anybody want to learn how to garden, community gardens, all of that, and everybody can contact me. So I'm the Afro Lady Urban Health Coach. I teach healthy cooking, gardening, dancing, and all of that good stuff. So please give me a call. I'm Crystal, 408-859-4332. Okay, thank you. We're going to stop and go to my front succulent garden now. Thank you. Okay, so everybody, now I'm out here in my front yard, and I call it the front porch like the old days in Texas, where I was raised at. Everything happened on the front porch. You got all your good advice from all of the elders and everything. So this is what I call my front porch. And like I have in the backyard, I have lots of succulents back there. So I got more than 200 succulents in my yard total. And every one you see, I planted it. I just took a little piece of something and I put it together. And if you ask me what the name of this stuff is, I don't know. But like this one, this is like my favorite one from the old days that you see out in way out west. You touch that thing, your fingers are gone. So then I have all these different, I just call them, you know, cactus family. So all of these are different succulents. And it's so nice to be able to sit out here. And like I said, you know, I plant, every pot, everything you see, I've done this over the years. And some of these plants are more than 20 years old. They've been sitting here for more than 20 years old. I have a relationship with my plants and stuff. I keep taking care of them. But I come out here and I just sit out here and relax and, you know, and reflect, listen to my music, or hang out with the family, hang out with the grandkids here. And, you know, just enjoy this. And it's just so beautiful. Everything I'm talking about for our people is to get out and enjoy nature, and it's free. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to walk outside and look at some beautiful plants. When they say God said take time to smell the roses, what he's doing to me, how I interpret that, is take time to look at all of the beauty that God has out here for us, the trees, the rocks, the plants. And I'm totally stoked on that Pacific Ocean. I was down there last week, down in Seaside. That's my California hometown. And it's just like I take myself out to the beach and just sit there and just let, you know, my parents carry me away, go to the mountains, Tahoe and everything. So I'm totally into nature, and I just want all of us to get out here in nature and just enjoy it. But this is, like I said, my hundreds of succulents, and I got more. So I just want to come out here and say, like the old folks, you know, we're sitting out here on the porch and having a good time and just passing on. I can't tell you how many memories I have of sitting on the porch with my family and friends and all of that. And one of my grandmothers was so cool. Her name is Almeda Simmons. That's my father's mother. And she had cows, she had chickens, she had all of that. And what she would do for us in the summertime, and we all talk about this, she would make us homemade donuts, and we're out there playing and running in Texas, it's hot and all of that. And then she's like, come on in here, kids, and we walk in there, and she's pulling out hot donuts out of the pan. It don't get no better than that. So she did that for us. So the other thing that we all remember is like, remember Mom, we call her Mama Mita. Remember Mama Mita would sit there and churn her own butter, and then on the other days, then she would make us ice cream. She would make us homemade ice cream while we're sitting there. She have all of the stuff, and she's just sitting there churning and look, and all of her just sitting there waiting. And then when she's done, you know, okay, babies, come on, Mom got the ice cream ready for you. So having a grandma to sit around and make you homemade ice cream and homemade donuts, it don't get no better. So this is my porch talk. So now we're going to go in the house, and then I'm going to get to the real tribute to the ancestors with pictures and the documents. So I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. So now we're done. And what we got for dinner. Okay, so we're pulling this out right now. So this is my Simply Healthy dinner. So what I cooked for us, that looks real yummy. So what I got here for us, okay, so I got the chicken smothered with onions and gravy here. I got fresh collard greens from the garden. I got garlic mashed potatoes right there. And right here I got, I need to pick that up, that's kind of hot. So right here I got the broccoli and the cauliflower that came straight from the garden like a half an hour ago. So this is our dinner, smothered chicken with gravy. And I roasted the chicken, so I kept it healthy. Now collard greens with just a little bit of broth, bouillon cubes, that's all I cooked it with, garlic mashed potatoes. And then we got the roasted cauliflower over here and broccoli. Okay, and then for dessert, yeah, we got my famous Miss Gertrude's peach cobbler. Okay, so they passed all the recipes down to me. I kept the recipes, and if they're okay to share, I will, but if it's a family secret, I'm sworn for life that I will not tell anybody outside the family how to make these dishes. And I just want to say again, thanks to the Black Kitchen Cabinet for letting me do this. Happy Black History Month to all the families and everybody. My message is like, please, let's get healthier, family. With this virus, it's really taking us out. This depression is really taking us out. What's going on with everything. So get out there. Let's eat right. Let's say our prayers. Let's get out there. Let's walk. Let's encourage each other. And again, happy Black History Month to everyone. And I appreciate and I just love my blackness. I love my family's blackness. I love everybody. I love everybody. And I just want to say thank you. And I also want to send out a beautiful, beautiful thank you to my friend Tamara Hall that helps me to get set up with all of these grants and everything. And she's at work. She's not here. But I want to thank you to my good friend here, Buford, my photographer, that me and him did several projects together. And we look like we're going to do more. And we're blessed to do more with each other. And then I got Tiana Hall here. And I got Tamara's sister here with me, helping with the photography and helping me to keep me on track. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody. Amen. Have a great day.